Have you ever wondered to yourself, why is it so hard for me to be happy? Well, if so, you're probably dealing with some type of self-hatred. But don't worry, you're definitely not alone. The first step to happiness is finding the root cause of our distress. So why exactly do we hate ourselves when we do? Welcome back, Psychos. Today we'll be discussing the 8 reasons why we hate ourselves. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as click the notification bell so that you never miss a video. Number 1. You had a rough childhood at home. Childhood is the foundation for how we carry ourselves through adolescence and adulthood. A strong foundation can create a strong sense of self, a sturdy self-esteem, and an ability to navigate through our emotions. However, a weak foundation can provide the complete opposite. Growing up in a toxic household or with a toxic family member can definitely damage a person's mental health. Whether you were surrounded by overly strict and controlling parents, or maybe neglectful parents that seem to have better things to do with their time. We grow up with a natural desire to be loved, respected, nourished, attended to, and approved of. The unfortunate thing is that as a child, we don't know any better than to think that some of our toxic childhood was our fault. And this belief digs deep into our subconscious by the time we reach adulthood. Therefore, the more we are mistreated, the more we think we deserve that type of love, resulting in us treating ourselves with this lack of respect. Number 2. You were bullied. In relation to having a rough home life during childhood, you may have experienced bullying at school or even by siblings, which could have something to do with the lack of love you show yourself. Self-loathing can develop through any type of mistreatment, so it doesn't take an intelligent adult to mistreat a child in order for them to develop this self-negativity. As we all know, children can be the most ruthless and honest critics, so their words can really stick for an entire lifetime, in fact. According to the Centre for Disease Control, students who are both targets of bullying and engage in bullying behaviour are at greater risk for both mental health and behavioural problems. The worst thing is that bullies usually bully because they already have a form of self-hatred that they don't know how to manage, creating a need to impose it onto others, creating a toxic cycle that goes on for generations. Number 3. You struggle with past trauma. Having a rough childhood at home or getting bullied during childhood are both great examples of past trauma that can cause self-hatred. But trauma can also come in the form of specific incidents such as losing a loved one, going through a rough breakup, experiencing an abusive relationship, and so forth. Humans have a tendency to define themselves through their past life experiences. So when something horrible happens to us, we tend to take ownership of the trauma as part of us that needs to be protected. This protection is projected by denial, defeat, and self-hatred. We also have a tendency to replay past situations with false scenarios. The ownership we have on past traumas also brings us some feelings of blame and remorse. This increases the feelings of self-hatred because we can convince ourselves that if we were to have just done XYZ, maybe this situation wouldn't have happened, when in reality, there's nothing that could have been done differently. Number 4. Your ego is in the driving seat. According to existential psychology, or psychology of human nature and experience, self-hatred is created when we become egocentric and less focused on our actual selves. When our life is led through ego, we tend to feel very out of place and disconnected from the rest of the world, which is sure to cause feelings of loneliness and self-hatred. We sabotage our positive feelings with negative egotistical self-talk, which holds us back from remaining open to other people's opinions and views of the world, or reaching our fullest potential, which then ultimately leads to feelings like we hate who we are. In fact, this is actually one of the more common problems in today's society, where we are more focused on popularity and fame than we are genuine human connection and community. The grand-scale disconnection we are experiencing in this ego-driven world is a prime example of why we are such a bad society, despite the opportunities we are granted. Number 5. You don't have social support. If it's not obvious that genuine human connection is crucial for self-love, let's dive a little deeper. Social support has been researched time and time again on its incredible protective power against trauma and depression. 2 key factors that contribute to self-hatred, so in other words, when we don't have a social support system, especially during times of emotional distress, you are left to further escalate the feelings of self-loathing. Friends, family, colleagues, long-distance relationships, whatever the connection may be, having meaningful connections is crucial for anyone to feel loved, cared for, and accepted when we feel loved by other people who are more inclined to believe that we can love ourselves. So if you don't have anyone to turn to for support, don't be surprised if you aren't very nice to yourself. Number 6. You have unrealistic expectations. We all have unrealistic expectations now and then, but optimism is different than unreachable goals that make us feel inadequate. Setting yourself up for failure is a sure way to trigger feelings of self-hatred, especially if setting unrealistic expectations for yourself is a habit. An example of this would be comparing yourself to others or striving to be someone that you're not, or even trying to change the reality that not everyone we meet is going to like us. It's just simply beyond our control. Living life one unrealistic expectation to another will lead to a life of constant disappointment and failure, because we assume a level of control that we don't actually have over a situation, making it seem like we're always not doing good enough. The most difficult thing about unrealistic expectations is that we think we're doing good for ourselves, that without them, we wouldn't meet any of our goals in life, when in reality, the concept is completely self-sabotaging. Number 7. You're playing the wrong role. Another reason we experience self-hatred is the simple fact of not being ourselves. For example, if we were dressing to fit in rather than dressing to express ourselves, eventually we'll come to the conclusion that we're so far from who we are that we're no longer comfortable or happy. This doesn't come down to what we wear, it can pertain to any area of life, as who we surround ourselves with, who our partner is, what we do as a job, where we live, how we take care of ourselves. If you have a longing to change an area of your life and keep neglecting that calling, you will forever be upset with who you are. And lastly, number 8. You have a negative self-image. Self-image is a key factor, if not the most important factor when it comes to our level of self-love. Similar to playing the wrong role in life, having a negative self-image is like playing the wrong role in your mind. In fact, you're playing the role of a complete self-sabotager. A self-image or self-concept is how we view ourselves based on our past experiences, lessons, relationships, values, and principles. So when we rely solely on negative past experiences to make up our self-concept, you can imagine how easy it is to convince ourselves that we suck. Plus, this becomes an addicting mindset. So the more you focus on the negatives, the more you'll fail to recognize the beautiful things. Well, Psychos, that's everything for today. So have you felt self-hatred for any of these reasons? Also, make sure to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more Psycho videos.